Join my army of the dead.
What's going on, everybody? Evil Spectrum 3 here. So I'm sort of bringing back a podcast that we used to do here as far as Diablo goes. So we're going to talk about some things in this podcast. We're going to talk about weekend buffs. We're going to talk about special goblins, XP, things that they can do to spice up Diablo 3 as we continue to sort of ride out the end of the I don't know, end game, the end of the game, whatever you want to say. We get into the last few years here of Diablo 3 as far as it being the only or the current Diablo game. We'll talk expansion, we'll talk Diablo 4, we'll talk Blizzcon, and we'll talk about it here on this podcast. But first, I just wanted to give a little introduction. I am 34 years old. Just for the people that don't know me, other people who know me, you know the deal, but this is all about Diablo, so I just want to bring up my history with the game, I guess, because that's I think it's important for perspective, so people don't have to assume on their own, what the deal is and that type of thing. So basically, I've been a Diablo player for a long time. I played the original Diablo. Then I really got into Diablo 2, as many of us did. Just loved Diablo 2 for a couple years. Not maybe as long as a lot of other people, because it was... I can remember coming back to Diablo 2 a couple times, like 2 times, but at the time, I really got into, Halo at some point, took over and things like that, but I would go back to Diablo 2 and play. And even to this day, once in a while, I just go in for nostalgia, but I don't play it as much anymore. But it was one of my favorite games of all time. So when Diablo 3 was coming out, and we'd heard Diablo 3 for years, I was waiting and waiting and waiting. I couldn't wait to see what they were going to do in Diablo 3. And, much like a lot of you guys, I basically, I saw the artwork, and then I saw some of the gameplay, and I thought, wow, this looks really cool. There was that part of me that said, oh, it's a little bit of a departure, though. It has more of a colorful vibe like World of Warcraft. Blizzard has really made this look very kind of cartoony like some of their other games. But despite it being cartoony, what I really liked about Diablo 3 initially was just the gameplay itself. It felt more smooth and kind of chaotic at times than obviously the previous Diablos, and even... There was a speed element to the game that I don't think I feel like I didn't get in some of the other ARPGs and things like that. Like, Path of Exile now, I feel like the mechanics are a little bit different, than Diablo 3. Diablo 3 is kind of like when you start out at first, it's a little bit slow at first with, your skills and your powers, but pretty quickly you get very powerful. And at some point, it's all just about wiping out and trashing mobs and things like that. And then that's kind of it, where some of these other ARPGs kind of have different elements and control and pairing effects and just sort of characteristics that are a little bit more wide range than Diablo 3, but yet I always find myself still coming back to Diablo 3. But anyway, back to the beginning. I believe it was May 2012. And I purchased Diablo 3, and I was so fired up to purchase Diablo 3. I drove down to the game store. I was working. I have a kid at the time. And I drove down to the game store, and I was just full-on marked out for Diablo 3. And by the way, some of the timestamps will be below if you guys don't care about my introduction or my background in this game and what I'm reminiscing about, and you want to just get to the Primal I found this week, and you want to get to some of the news that I want to talk about, you can skip. But if you want to listen, obviously, maybe some of you guys do. So I'll continue this kind of nostalgia trip here. Here's the actual picture of the day I bought Diablo. I was in my Ford Explorer 98. The damn thing was breaking down. But yeah, I was so pumped up to pick up Diablo the day. If there was a midnight release, I don't know. I doubt there was, but I picked it up the day it was released. I'm assuming this was a Tuesday. I'd have to look at the post again. You know, I look a little bit different now that I let this garbage on my face grow. But yeah, at one time I looked like a clean-shaven idiot with my Ninja Turtles shirt and X-Men shirt on. But anyway, I picked it up the day it came out. You know, all the same troubles that maybe everybody had with the game. You know, it was definitely different from the beginning. I was enjoying the story. I liked the campaign. I don't normally like campaigns anymore. I don't like to sit through campaigns anymore. That sort of thing. So it was kind of, you know, it was pretty good it must have been a decent campaign because I thought it was. I thought it was a pretty decent campaign. There were some twists in there that I was kind of shocked by or not fond of, you know, but, you know, that being said, I liked the campaign for the most part. I picked Demon Hunter right from the beginning. I just felt, you know, I would go Demon Hunter. A lot of times I like kind of close combat and brawling and things like that and melee. So I really went back and forth with a barbarian. Perhaps I was going to play a barb, and then I just decided to go Demon Hunter. But anyway, I enjoyed the game. I was having fun playing the real game. And then, you know, I can remember the real money auction house, and I remember that sort of took over my life. So instead of playing Diablo 3 for Diablo 3 to play the game for competition, at the time, for whatever reason, I became so obsessed with the real money auction house. I remember Error 37. I remember being unable to log in, having trouble with that. I remember that whole thing. And it was around this time that I started going to school for HVAC. I never went back to doing that. I did pass the class and everything, but I remember that I was driving to these classes at night, and one of my favorite things to do was to listen to a podcast that was out, and I was actually on his podcast once, and it actually launched my YouTube channel. Not this one, but I have a different YouTube channel with 65,000 subscribers that has nothing to do with Diablo or gaming, and anyway, that all kind of helped me give me ideas for what I wanted to do on my show regarding a different subject. But I've always liked gaming, so I've always had the gaming channel here, so I want to build this up now as well. I've had great success with my other channel. I do YouTube, you know, as a job now too, so it's pretty crazy. But yeah, I used to listen to this guy Sibco, Red Team Gaming, and he had something called State of Diablo 3. And I really enjoyed his podcast talking about the game and his speculation on what could be. And if you still Google the guy to this day, you can still find a little bit of his podcast that he did. But most of them are gone or taken down. And it's really unfortunate because I always wanted to go back and listen to it again. And I think somewhere on a hard drive I have it. But anyway, that being said, I was obsessed with the game. And I was obsessed with the real money auction house. I was making money flipping items for gold and stuff like that. And I will admit that when they did take the real money auction house away, I did sort of stop playing because I was kind of like, that became my game, to be honest. I'm not even kidding about that. That became my game of making money on Diablo. And I really loved it. And I obsessed over it. I enjoyed it. And the idea that I could make $300 to $600 a month on a video game I liked playing was crazy. But it's weird because I wasn't really playing the game to play it as much as I was to make money on the real money auction house. So that really tainted everything. But at some point, months later, 4 months, 6 months later, I'm not sure what it was, I missed the game and I came back, and then I really started to like it more for what it's supposed to be. And I didn't think I would either. I thought it ruined it for me. It like made me so angry that it ruined it for me. I know that other people were kind of, most gamers at the time were like, yes, get rid of this stupid thing. And I was one of the people that left the game because that left, which is weird to say because, I mean, I played Diablo 2 for so long. There was no money auction house there. It wasn't about money. It was about the game. But I just had so much fun with it. That's what happened. I can remember in the first few years they had double XP, I think, every once in a while, like every year for an anniversary, they had like a double XP. They had that little treasure box at the bottom. They don't really do that anymore at all. And that's going to lead me into what I want to get into, which is I'm kind of going to jump ahead because I think people have had all the nostalgia that they can have. I think we all know the story. I think we all know, you know, Reaper of Souls coming out, the Necromancer, before that, the things they changed, adding greater rifts, the cube stuff, just all the different changes they made to the game. You know, I think we're all pretty much aware of that. But the bottom line is there's been so many changes to the game that where the game is now is kind of amazing. The only complaint now that I have, after they've fixed and adjusted so much, and the power creep is obviously insane at this point. Like, the numbers on the power creep are just, you know, out of this world type of numbers. But I think one of the things that a lot of people can agree on is that, you know, while this game is totally different from when it started. If you thought this game was broken at the beginning or had problems, you know, they really have shaped this game into the best it can be. Which, if some people were mad at the game originally, you know, people were giving it like 6 out of 10s and stuff like that. I would say the game is really, I think, has come into a good solid 7 or 8 out of 10, if not higher. I mean, it's one of my favorite games of all time now, despite the flaws and the issues and the errors and the things that they've taken out or that have made us upset. The brawling or the dueling or the PvP never really happened, you know, things like that. But the only thing right now where I'm at is I want some spice in the game. I understand that perhaps we may not get an expansion, we may not get a druid, we may not get something else added to this game. But what I would like is spice, and I keep talking about it. And I know there's some people that don't like primal weapons. I'm somebody that not only likes primal weapons, I would like more types of primal weapons. Like, you know, like deluxe primal or like ultra primal and things like that. I would love if there were ultra primals and things like that, where there could be an extra stat slot or some way you could roll it or build upon it. Building upon it similar to like and this is all theory, I don't know 100% if I love this. And by the way, I'm throwing these things out there. If you guys have better ideas, please let me know. You probably do. And if you think my ideas will work or won't work, I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. That's what we're doing here. It's all about just kind of brainstorming, talking about what we'd like. Now, I enjoyed the double goblin season, right? But well, let me get back to the primal thing. So imagine there was an ultra primal, right? An ultra primal drops, and you know it's there's an empty stat there, right? And perhaps every single time, you know, you can roll the item a couple times, and that stat could roll with like double dexterity, right? There could be a doubler or something like that. So there's a doubler that rolls on the primal, and there, you know, a couple different things that make it different. You know, just little things like that I would enjoy. Some people may think that is ridiculous. I understand if you do. I'm just somebody who likes these kind of, you know, whacked out sort of ideas. I like all this weird spice. I love goblins. I enjoy killing goblins. I mean, right now, and if you have cosmic wings and all those other things, then pretty much you have no use for goblins, really, unless you're hunting goblins to just build up mats and things like that very quickly, or you enjoy doing the goblin runs. I'd like to see a few things added to goblins, perhaps. That would be nice. You know, for anybody out there that hasn't found cosmic wings or something like that. And by the way, I haven't found cosmic wings all these years of kind of, I don't search like crazy, but I go through weeks where I kind of do the runs for a couple of days, pretty hardcore, and I go, and I come up with nothing, and, you know, I don't even have the rainbow portrait. You know what I mean? I spent a long time looking for that. But I found a Yang's recurve for my Demon Hunter, Primal Yang's recurve, not that long ago, and it was a pretty good roll, so I was just really happy with that. And that was in the non-seasonal character that I found it. But again, I like the idea of like double goblins and things like that on the weekends. Now, I had brought up the idea of double goblins, double XP, and all these different things at different times and when they could do them. Now, I was listening to Big Daddy earlier. He was streaming, and he brought up doing that on the weekends. And I had never thought about that. I had always thrown out, it'd be nice if we could get like, when we get a seasonal theme, right? So we get Season of Lawn, right? We get Season of Lawn this year, or this season, Season 17. It would be nice that along with that comes like a secondary thing. And I know that I'm sounding very greedy here, but anything to sort of keep my mind going with the game, you know? So Season of Lawn and maybe like double goblins, Or even better, imagine if you could actually select your own second theme. That would be really good. Like, oh, you could do double goblins, or you could select, what are you going to go with this year? Well, I'm going to go double goblins. Or somebody could go maybe, I don't know what the next one, double bounty mats. I mean, for a lot of people, that's a no-brainer. They'd go double bounties. But, something like that would be nice, I feel like. Or even if there's a chance. There's a chance a lot of times for double. A good chance, though. There's like a 50% chance that you get double bounties, double goblins, or something like that. And I don't know how tough the coding is on all that stuff, but, just more things to do. Maybe we could have a new portal, a new realm, like the gold area, something like that. Very simple, where shrines and things are just different and weird, and anything to sort of keep my mind going. And that would be great if they could activate these things on the weekends. Hey, this weekend it's double goblins. Hey, this weekend it's double XP. Hey, this weekend it's there's a buff to finding legendaries. Like, that would be great. Or a buff to primals, whatever. So, things like that would really, really, really keep me interested even more in the game than I already am. So I wish there was a weekend buff event, or a weekend event. And perhaps if they couldn't do that every weekend, maybe they could do that one weekend a month, whatever. But the more they do stuff like that, the more I keep playing this game. That's the thing, and they really don't do a lot of it. They've taken out certain goblin areas before. I remember there was one where you could just click on the map, and every time you spawned, it spawned 1 or 2 goblins every time, about like 70% of the time. That went away when people started streaming about it and making videos, which I knew it was going to go away when that happened. But it was so fun that when that went away, I actually left the game for months, because at the time, that was what I was doing over and over again to keep my mind off things. Like when I was doing bounties and I got bored, I would do that goblin run for an hour, and then I would be like, okay, cool, I'm going to go Greater Rift again. Or whatever the case is, and that was just something that buffered my mind. It kept me, let me do this as a side thing while I'm waiting. And when they took that away, it bothered me. So more of these activities that are easy to do, that are fun, or reason to play the game. If they could keep doing those, I'd be very happy. I know that I may be in the minority with that. Maybe a lot of people out there just like, I don't know what this guy's talking about. I grind bounties, and that's it. Why would you do anything like this when you could just be grinding rifts or bounties or whatever? And I agree with that. And if you're a smarter player, that probably is something that you're going to do. But for me, I've got some like major ADD. I'm not a very good Diablo player. I mean, my main character has 1200 Paragon or something like that. That's my main character. I've been playing since it came out. So, I've wasted a lot of time in this game. Special goblins would be nice. Some new goblins. Potential for the goblins to, maybe drop Primal. There's a buff on a certain goblin where whatever primals are. Primals are like, what, 1 in 400 right now? There's a 1 in 400. You're pretty much probably going to find a primal. If you find 400 legendaries, your chances of finding a primal, you're probably going to get one in that 400. So it'd be nice if there was a goblin where it was 1 in 100 that the goblin will drop a primal, or 1 in 20, or make the thing have some kind of buff. Maybe different shrine events, something like that. You click a shrine, and if you find the right shrine, it's the raining shrine of whatever the hell, and stuff rains down on you. I don't know, Death's Breath rains down. I don't know, you get like 500 DBs. I don't know. It's goofy stuff like that. I'd be really interested in. And now let's get into XP. It'd be nice if there was an XP weekend where there was a big XP buff to help some of the people like myself who do more solo paragons. I mean, that's just going to increase the power creep even more for the people that, there's going to be people running rat run teams of 4 and all kinds of other stuff. But I play 98%. I play solo. I pretty much 98% of my time on this game has been solo. My wife plays off and on once in a while, so that's fun when she's playing. I get a lot more done because I like to, me and her, we like to compete and be like, hey, what'd you get? What'd I get? Hey, let's do this now. But let's move into the expansion thing. So, we always thought maybe there'd be another expansion. Maybe there would be a druid. Seems to be the number one thing that everybody's really looking forward to. You know, I think Diablo is going to save it for Diablo 4. I really don't think there's going to be another expansion. Obviously, you all know that. We all pretty much know that it would be a shock. It would be I believe it would be a bombshell if they were to say, hey, we're going to have another expansion for Diablo 3. I even think it would be quite the bombshell, even if they just announced another character, right? Because I could see them not adding they don't have another act ready. They're not doing an expansion, but they are making for sale perhaps another character. I could also see Blizzard doing it for free. I know that's crazy. I know people out there are like, what the hell is wrong with you? But to build good faith, I could see the Diablo team saying, hey, we're going to give you a druid, or we're going to give you this. It's free. And it's available in 6 months or in 3 months. It's going to be available, and everybody's going to get it. Who has purchased Reaper Souls and has the game, you're going to get this character. Wow, that would be a crazy, like, good faith type of thing. Not only would it get everybody in the Diablo community fired up, but people would come on probably to play it. I mean, it wouldn't last too long. You know, people would come on, play it, max it out, start playing it, get bored of that within, you know, about a month or less. But it would really add some spice to the game. That would be very surprising. In a perfect world, I would love to see that. I would love to see one more character come out. And at BlizzCon this year, they announced that. They also announced Diablo Immortal is available right now. Look at your phones. Because I always believed that they're going to announce Diablo Immortal on your phone right then and there. And they're going to announce Diablo 4. I can't believe they didn't announce Diablo 4 last year, but they must not have had enough footage and enough of the game ready to announce it. That tells me they were probably very close, because they were seeming like they were going to announce it. Then it seemed like maybe they pulled out at the last minute. They were like, nah, we can't do it. We just can't do it. And they'd already sort of campaigned around that, like, yeah, we're doing it. And then they sort of had to pull back. And then they had to tell people, hey, calm down. You know, there's no Diablo 4. So I'm anticipating a Diablo 4 announcement, and the announcement that, hey, Diablo, I know that a lot of you are PC gamers, and we love our PC games, and you guys aren't, maybe all of you aren't into the phone games as much, but you do have phones, and we wanted to do something while you wait for Diablo 4, because we are hard at work right now at Diablo 4, as we showed you, and more information on Diablo 4 is going to be coming out. But right now, if you have a smartphone, right now, while you're waiting, and while you're away from Diablo 3, away from your computer, Diablo can still go with you in your pocket as you play Diablo Immortal, which is available right now. And everybody here who's at BlizzCon, who's in the Wi-Fi, whatever the hell bullcrap, has a free loot bag of this thing or whatever. So anyway, that's a way that everybody wins. They can get their stupid, they can get their phone game to everybody, which I don't mind. I just didn't like the announcement. I didn't like that. I don't care about phone games that much. I play Hearthstone, and that's about it. I play Hearthstone, that's it. I can't imagine clicking on my phone. My fingers hurt. My neck hurts. I don't like doing it. No. I mean, yeah. So anyway, that's all I need to say about that. But if they did all that, but then can you imagine if they also said, now everybody, I know that we just announced Diablo 4. We just announced Diablo Immortal is available right now, but I just want to tell you that I have one more surprise for everybody. How many of you guys play Diablo 3? You know, crowd raised their hand, crowd cheers. How many of you guys played Diablo 2? Blah, 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 blah. Diablo 1. Well, as a love letter to you guys for all the years of dedication, we know that we're still about 2 years away from the release of Diablo 4. And that gives you some time to wait. So we're going to give you some time with Diablo Immortal, and I know a lot of you are still playing Diablo 3. So in 3 months, like blah blah blah, we're announcing coming to Diablo 3, the Druid, and then they put that up on the screen. Can you imagine the type of JIZZ that would be flying out of the males in the crowd? I mean, women have like waterfalls rolling down their legs. Men have like just cream pie. It would just be insane. And then And then for them to say, and when I would like to tell, and we have one more surprise for you. Believe it or not, I do have one more surprise for you. This druid that is coming out will be available to everybody who has a copy of Diablo 3, and it will be at no charge. You will be able to play the druid for free December 20th, like blah, 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 whatever the heck it is, right? And then, I mean, dude, just people just freaking out everywhere. I mean, if Diablo did that, that would be the biggest 180 from last year. From last year, everyone thinking Diablo 4 is coming. I can't wait. Maybe Diablo 2, like redone, or maybe a expansion for Diablo 3 or something. Like maybe something's going down here. But we really think it's Diablo 4, and it's not. It's a damn mobile game, and that's it. That was like, dude, I would have blew my brains out at BlizzCon last year if I had. I mean, that was just the worst thing I've ever. One of the worst like things I've ever seen. The people that bought tickets for that, oh my god. So if I know everything I just said sounds insane, and if anybody from Blizzard ever sees this video, which they probably won't, I can't. I know you have to know what your fans want, what the crowd wants. If you give a crowd like this all of that, you will have goodwill for a couple of years until Diablo 4 comes out. You'll get everybody in the Diablo 3 community getting together and getting excited all over again and freaking out, getting people back into Diablo 3. And then when people come back to Diablo 3, they're going to get bored after a couple months, maybe, maybe some of them will stay long term until Diablo 4. But you're going to get some people like, this is awesome, I'm glad to be back on Diablo 3. And maybe within 3 months, they're like, okay, I'm kind of bored of this again, man, but that Diablo 4 is coming, and that's in their heads. So that really keeps everybody going and keeps the momentum, lights that last little fire in the Diablo 3 community before, we really get into Diablo 4. So that's personally what I would do from a PR, from a sales, from a, I don't know what the logistics of this are, everything I've just said, but I would make that possible. If it's not that bad and doesn't cost that much to do that, I would do it. Now, I suppose the one thing, if I had to exchange one of those ideas, I would definitely be open to charging for the druid, right? If that gets it done, I would be open to charging for the druid. If that was a game breaker, like, listen, we're not going to just give this away because we really weren't going to do it anyway, even if we did charge. But we certainly aren't going to do it for free because we can't. Well, I would meet you on that one. I would say $29.99 druid pack. You get the druid, you get a pet, you get whatever the hell, right? That's fine. I would do that. I would accept that as well. That would also be, to me, considered amazing. Making the thing free is just a stupid little, like, sorry about last year and everything we did and whatever. But I would be willing myself, I can tell you right now, I would be willing to give $30 to Diablo 3 if it was just to get a druid, just to get a pet, and maybe a stash tab or something. That would be fine with me. So if I'm willing to do it, I'm sure there's other people that are willing to do it. This game has given me so much. I haven't really had to pay for anything in a long time in this game. I would be willing. I would love to dump a little bit more money into the game. I almost want to give Blizzard money for this game because I've played the hell out of it and I've enjoyed it. And if they gave us that, but I'm also really interested in everything I said before about the weekend buffs and the goblins and adding an extra bit of spice to the game and some unpredictability and more fun to the game. Maybe the chance for like something to happen when you go in a greater rift. Just things like that excite me about the game now because we all know everything else about the game. We don't want to play too much with the Paragon and perhaps maybe even with the Primal weapons, even though I did mention that earlier. But I would really like to see, some things like that. But, BlizzCon this year, it's going to be hard to get into it because it felt like last year they said, you don't want to miss this BlizzCon. But then they said, oh, back it up a little bit, you might be disappointed. What? It was kind of a very dishonest thing last year. So this year, if they were to say, like, you better don't miss it, don't. It's like, do you believe that? Because what do they mean? Maybe they just mean that they're going to say, hey, everybody, take out your phones, Diablo Immortal. You know, and if that's the reason why they said don't miss it, I mean, you're going to... I know they're not going to do that because they cannot be that ridiculous. But anyway, that being said, I love Diablo. Blizzard has given us a lot. I hope that Blizzard is in good health right now. They have so many issues going on, layoffs, transitions, Activision being involved with them now and everything. It's just a very interesting situation from what I've been hearing, read, and heard about over there. But I enjoy still playing Diablo 3 almost every day or so for a little while, and for streaming it as well. And I'll continue to do it. So the last before I go, Primal of the Week was... I found... Oh, that's me buying the Diablo 3 game. There it is. Primal of the Week. I found a Bombardier's rucksack. As you know, I play a Demon Hunter, so this was really good for my Marauders, Natalia's build, one of the sort of top builds. I do a Frozen build on that DH. My main build is an Unhallowed Essence Demon Hunter, where I have, of course, the regular Unhallowed Essence and then a speed build for it. But the Bombardier's rucksack certainly helped out as far as my Natalia's Marauders build. So I was very... Hey man, that's a really good Primal to get. I wanted it to be Dead Man's Legacy for sure. I do not have a Dead Man's Legacy Primal yet, or the best roll on Dead Man's Legacy, but I have a pretty good roll on the Dead Man's Legacy. But the next best thing would be one of my top 3 builds. This is my 3rd best build, but it is also a build that I really do use for pushing. It outdoes it. In some cases, depending on the rift and what I'm facing, whether it's poison or fire, the Natalia's Marauders build does push a little bit better than my Unhallowed Essence build. But in some cases, my Unhallowed Essence does do the job. So this is a really good find. It wasn't a junk item. I found probably 5 other primals this week. They were useless as far as Demon Hunter goes and junk, but of the 6 this week, Bombardier's rucksack, an awesome find. I thought it was a pretty good roll too. It's pretty good. It's got the dex, the vitality, the attack speed, the critical hit, the cooldown reduction, and then it does the sentry damage. And then down below it did health globes. I think the previous one did something. I actually forget what my previous one did, but I think it's a pretty good roll for Bombardier's rucksack. I don't know if it can get better than this. I don't think there is a better roll for Bombardier's rucksack, so I think that this was pretty much perfect. I mean, as far as socketing, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't think this is going to be a primal to socket, because the only thing I would take away is increase sentry damage, and that's 100%. I don't want to take that away. Perhaps, potentially, I could find cooldown reduction somewhere else. So I may be able to substitute cooldown reduction with the socket there, and that would pretty much be the only thing I think I would swap out for the socket attempt. But what do you guys think about that? If you're Demon Hunters out there and listening, let me know what you think. I would love to hear your opinions. I'm not the brightest bulb, but, sometimes I've got some pretty good stuff, but a lot of times it's great to hear what you guys have to say too. Also found this cool song, Dubstep, Ifixa Diablo Tristram Village Remix, Era 37 Remix from DJ Ifixa on YouTube. And it's pretty nice, so go check that out if you can. Just wanted to shout out the little bit of music I threw on here. And my name is Joe. You may know me as Joe, but otherwise, Evil Spectrum 3. And I hope you guys follow me on Twitch. My Twitch name is twitch.tv/Joe Cronin JCS. Or if I got the name change to go through, it's going to be twitch.tv/Evil Spectrum Evil Spectrum 3. The number 3. So either that or Joe Cronin JCS. And that's about it, man. What do you guys think? Leave in the comments down below. If you guys want to talk about, have questions for the next episode, or want to talk about something next episode, leave it in the comments down below, or feel free to email me. You can email me, joecroninshow@yahoo.com. joecroninshow@yahoo.com, or just message me down below. leave some comments. I'll respond like, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Here's my idea for this. Here's my idea for that. And I will comb through if there are any comments, because who knows how well this video will do. And if you can, share the video so we can get it out there. If you guys love Diablo, please subscribe down below. Don't miss whatever I do in the future as far as Diablo goes. Appreciate it. And I will catch you guys next time. Devil Eyes. Here's some of my other videos you guys might have missed. Check them out.